a passionate instigator and dynamic problem solver. Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, the host of the Dr. Kevin Radio Show, will be taking you outside the box, behind the curtain, and identifying the load of BS we are fed every day. And now, Dr. Kevin.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world. Are we ready for it? One Om at a time. So I want to welcome everybody today. For any of our new guests, people that may be coming in for the first time, you can go to facebook.com/mydrkevin, MYDRKEVIN. And at the very top, you will see the write-up about today's show. And there you can read about our guest, who I will introduce you to shortly. You can see where you can connect with her and all of the wonderful places where she hangs out. And I know this woman, and trust me, she hangs out. And then you can ask questions. You can type your little questions and I get them, or you can tweet them to me at either at mydrkevin, MYDRKEVN, or at Web of Light, WEBOFLIGHT. You tweet to either of those, or you come to facebook.com/mydrkevin and make sure you like it when you're there. You can be the part of today's conversation. Now, for those of you who come back every week, I know you're tired of hearing me say this, but that's not going to stop me from saying it. You know, a difference is made in the world when people stand up, when they take an action, when they speak out, when they participate. For those of you that sit around, hanging out, listening to me on the radio or watching something on the boob tube, and just kind of mutter and complain and everyone's an idiot, or the world's going to hell in a handbasket, or you hate Trump, or you hate Bernie, or you hate Hillary, or you just hate. I don't care. If you're not taking an action, if you're not getting up out of that, if you're not getting up off those backsides of yours, if you're not speaking out, if you're not making a change, then you're getting the world you deserve. And frankly, I don't want to hear you complain about it. Now, here's an opportunity for you to ask me, ask the guest, share your comments, share your ideas. Maybe there's somebody else out there who would take an idea of yours and run with it because you won't get off your couch to run with it. Who knows? Or maybe there's somebody out there that's been saying, hey, that's somebody I'm looking to connect with. So use this opportunity. Stand up, speak out, make a difference in the world. It's your world. And then the sad part is, if you don't do anything, it's your children's world and your grandchildren's world. And when they get a really crappy world and they said, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, hey, Grampy, hey, Grammy, what did you do? You can say, hey, I had the fastest flicking fingers on a remote control in all of the Southwest or Northeast or Plain States or maybe New England or maybe UK, because you're all listening to me. So we're going to start now with our hot topic, because we always start with a hot topic. The hot topic is something that sometimes will make me warm and fuzzy. And sometimes it's something that makes me hot under the collar. Well, I know the last few shows I've been doing stuff that's made me hot under the collar. But I actually found something today that warmed the cockles of my heart. So my hot topic today is a warm and fuzzy. And as soon as I've gone through this hot topic, then I will bring in today's guest, introduce you to her, and see what she has to say about today's hot topic. This has been posted on my personal Facebook line, and I will post it on my fan page as well. But you can find me on facebook.com, Dr. Kevin Ross Emery, DR, or again, the fan page, MYDRKEVIN. And it is about a project out of New Zealand that is looking for funding to publish their first book. And the book this kid's book is about a gay prince and his farm boy crush, and it is beyond cute. It is the story of Jack and Leo. It is a love story in the greatest of fairy tale things, where there is this time an evil stepfather. And there is a handsome prince and there is a farm boy. And they get to fall in love. Now, I haven't read the book yet. I'm kind of sort of assuming that they will, live happily ever after, because that's kind of sort of what fairy tales do. And this is a fairy's fairy tale. So I'm sure they'll probably doubly live happy ever after. There's a few books out there, but we need more books out there so that all kids can say, hey, no matter how I feel or how my friend feels or how my brother or sister feels, it's all okay. And you don't have to be Cinderella or Snow White to live happily ever after. You don't have to be Prince Charming that's, Waking Sleeping Beauty to live happily ever after. You can just be an every ordinary day Joe, and you can fall in love with an every ordinary day Jack or a Prince Jack. It all works. So that's my warm and fuzzy. There is a funding campaign to help produce the book for its first round. I do invite you to come see the story. I will share it over again. I'll share it over to my line, over to my fan page line where you can comment on things. And then I am going to I will do that at break, because now I am going to introduce today's guest. Today's guest is no stranger to Dr. Kevin here, nor is Dr. Kevin a stranger to her, though people might say that we're both a little strange depending on the moment that they meet us. Today's guest is Donna Marie Evleth. I'm not pronouncing that right, probably, because I never pronounce your last name, and you can correct me at any point. She is an author and an intuitive, and she has quite the journey to share. She is a mother of two amazing guys, Patrick and Bryan, a retired U.S. Army veteran from the desert area and desert era, not desert area, an empath and an intuitive. And she has founded the Saratoga Intuitive Tarot organization, dedicated to the accurate education and advancement of intuition through tarot. Donna, are you there?
Hi, Dr. Kevin. I'm here.
Well, welcome. So, again, come to facebook.com/MyDrKevin, or tweet me at Web of Light or at MyDrKevin if you have a question for me or for Donna, or want to weigh in on today's warm and fuzzy topic. What did you think about today's hot topic there?
I love it. It sounds like, is it a love story for Jack and Leo? Tell me a little bit about the story.
Well, all I know about the story actually is that it is a love story of a prince and a farm boy. So it is a gay love story. And the prince's mother marries an evil stepdad, which is different because in fairy tales we always have evil stepmoms, who wants to take away the enchanted forest that the farm boy's family has been asked to protect for hundreds of years so that he can profit off it.
Oh, first of all, I love love stories. I'm a romantic, so I think this is wonderful. And I think the fact that it's a prince and a farm boy, being a farm girl myself, I totally understand that. So I think that's a beautiful. Did you say it was a Kickstarter program or a Kickstarter project?
It's one of the fundraiser projects. I'm trying to remember which one. I do have it on my personal website, on my personal line, but I'm also going to put it on my Facebook fan page. It definitely is. They're raising money. Let me look. They're raising money. Their job is to get it out on October 11th, and where it's on Kickstarter. It is Kickstarter. It is on.
Yeah, there's some great projects there.
So it is a Kickstarter. Like I said, I have shared it on my own line, and I'm going to also put it on my Facebook fan page. What do you think? Do we need more positive role modeling at younger ages that says if you have a not run-of-the-mill, so to speak, sexual orientation, that it's still okay and you get to be happy?
Oh my God, absolutely. And I do so many readings, Dr. Kevin, for people who are struggling with this. Recently, a young girl, she actually identified as gender neutral. and her parents were having a hard time understanding this. And I just saw the pain in her, in everything she talked about, and she was struggling. So I think it would be wonderful to have more of these stories out here so that they can kind of identify with the characters of these stories, because these kids, it's tough. I mean, as light workers, we're coming through and we're paving the way for them. But for the kids, it's still a rough road.
And it is. And, the funny thing is because we're catching up to the kids, because so many of the kids, I talk to the younger people and they are so nonplussed about whether a boy loves a boy or a girl loves a girl or a boy and a girl love each other, unless they've been very early hate indoctrinated, they just don't care. They don't
That's
care.
very true. I mean, just like kids don't see color, young kids, they do not identify themselves by a color. They just all play together. And it's the same thing with gays and bisexuals and gender neutrals. It's, they're more open about this thing. It's not a big deal. Like, in our generation coming up, we didn't talk about stuff like that. And I understand you, especially, I've listened to a few of your shows. It was very difficult for you. So I think you're the perfect example of how difficult it really is.
Well, and the funny thing is, because all I just want that child who maybe has a crush on his or her best friend that's the same gender, that may go on and turn out to be straight, but be like, it's okay that I have this crush. It's okay that I want to, hold hands.
Yeah.
That it's all okay. Our break is coming up. I can hear the music. We'll be back in a minute with Donna Marie, and we'll hear more about the Saratoga Intuitive Institute here on the Dr. Kevin Show.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Hailing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Hailing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show here on OMTime Radio, where we're changing the world one Om at a time. And here on the Dr. Kevin Show, we challenge everything and everyone. And we are today going into challenge mode with, Donna Marie, please pronounce, because I know I'm killing it.
It's Evleth.
Evleth.
Yes, it was a gift from my ex-husband.
Hey, well, and you had a couple of great kids, right?
I did, but this was the one that you knew when I first got married. This was the second one.
Oh, okay. So
you knew, you predicted that too. Now, who is your channel? Who is the guy that you channel? Wang Chi?
Wei Chi. Yes, Wei Chi.
Yes.
Wei Chi.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys talked to me all about that.
Oh. See, when I channel,
do you remember the graveyard in front of the church?
Oh, when I do a channel, when I'm doing a full body trans channel, I only remember spotty, very like dream sequence type things.
Gotcha.
Yep, definitely there. So here in our first segment, I'm going to again, and I want to tell people that Donna Marie Evleth, she is the founder of the Saratoga. I stuck a U in your city. Saratoga Intuitive Tarot, which is an organization that's dedicated to the accurate education and advancement of intuition through tarot in the Capital District of New York. She also has a new book out, and you can find out more about her at facebook.com/Saratoga. Yay, Rome, yay, toga, toga, toga. Intuitive Tarot. So that's facebook.com/Saratoga Intuitive Tarot, or the divineenergycenter.com /DRA/draft-Donna-Elveth. So for that one, you really want to come to facebook.com/my Dr. Kevin, because you can just click the little blue thing and take it right there. So Donna.
Yes. And
go ahead.
Yes, Dr. Kevin.
No. I just wanted to say, so this is a segment where we take people outside the box. You do have to tell us what is the name of your new book, because it wasn't in your write-up. I just realized.
Okay. Well, it's not out yet. I'm working with Balboa Press to get it published. But there's two. There's one, which is my core Tarot Master certification program. It's a textbook and a teaching manual to teach the program, which I've developed. And I'm also going to be doing an online e-class as well with that. Now, the newest book that I'm working on is called Just a Byproduct. And basically it's about me and my adoption and how I grew up and how I was shut down. But then later came to find my biological parents, who my mother, as a matter of fact, had the same gifts as me, but I was shut down at a very young age. So it's it's going to be very interesting.
Okay. So now this is a segment where we take our listeners outside the box, which means that you are going to be stretching their comfort zones. How do you want to stretch their comfort zones tonight?
Oh, I've got a good one for you. I'd like to stretch their comfort zones with religion versus spirituality.
Now, I have to ask the question. Did you listen to the fireside chat that I did on that not too long ago?
No, I don't think I did.
Oh, well, will be interesting, because I just spoke on this about 4 weeks ago. I did a talk on religion versus spirituality. So go for it.
Oh, very cool. Okay, well, the first thing I did, of course, was to look up in the dictionary the definition of both of them. And we're going to find some interesting things here. And I don't know if you did this on your show, but religion is a noun. And it says it's a set of beliefs concerning the cause, nature, and the purpose of the universe, especially when considered as the creation of a superhuman agency or agencies, usually involving devotional and ritual observances, and often containing a moral code governing the conduct of human affairs. And interesting, I looked in a thesaurus for some words. that were synonyms to religion. And I got church, creed, cult, denomination, superstition, theology, ritual, and sect, which is very interesting to me. I grew up and I went to all Catholic schools. So this is very familiar to me. Now, when I go to the definition of spirituality, spirituality is a noun. It just says it's the quality or fact of being spiritual. Or adjective, it says of or relating to the spirit or soul as distinguished from the physical nature. Of or relating to or consisting of spirit, incorporeal. In the thesaurus, the synonyms for this was incorporeality. I'm not sure if I'm saying that one right. Otherworldliness, unearthliness, clear, far-seeing, holistic, incarnate, astral, immaterial. But the big one is love. Don't you find that interesting?
Well, and so what I find interesting is that you took a very different tack than I did. Of course, and I've taught a class on this before, but I just did a little talk the other night, and a lot of times I do what you just did, which is to look it up and say, hear the difference between the two words. And I wasn't drawn to do that for my talk. I actually did something completely different. So now you've thrown a lot of stuff at my people, and you've said it's interesting, but they're listening to it. They're not reading it. They can't read it again. They can't summarize. What do you want to take them out of the box about the difference between religion and spirituality?
Well, religion seems to be very mainstream, very, very structured. And like I said, I came up as a Catholic all my life. So I found that Catholicism was very ritualistic, and it's very in the box, kind of like our education system, but I'm not going to go there yet. They tell us what we're supposed to believe, which to me is a total, well, it's bull. Okay, we'll say that. Spirituality is wonderful because once I started to awaken, I actually started to incorporate what felt right for me, what I believed in, what worked, what I remembered, because I actually remembered so much. So to summarize, I believe that religion is actually the structured, I don't know, inside the box. I'm not sure if I'm wording that correctly, but it's very inside of the box, whereas spirituality is outside of the box, and it's more loving, it seems like, because, like I said, religion seems very ritualistic.
Well, and so I'm going to poke here a little bit because, that's what we do here on the Dr. Kevin Show.
Of course.
So the first thing that I want to poke at a little bit is the fact that, of course, I look at religion as, the big difference is the religion to me is the institution that man created to create morals and ethics and values that were going to be controlled by an institution.
Yes. Man-made. That's the law. Man-made and laws, rules.
Laws, rules, and an institution. And sooner or later, an institution will always protect itself first. It will lose its vision statement. It will lose its mission statement. It will lose everything but the will to live. And therefore, the institution does what it needs to do to protect the institution and no longer serve why it was created. So, so we have an institution where man can go to receive the illusion of safety, of guidance, of the answering of questions that makes man feel safe. Spirituality oftentimes does not make man feel safe. Oftentimes spirituality makes man feel uncomfortable. It stretches the comfort zone. It can be loving, but loving is not always kind. There are times when loving, that the act of loving is something that is truly loving, but not kind because it's honest or it's truthful. And it's that nature of the spirit of man and what moves man's spirit and that connection that says, I'm part of something larger than myself. Spirituality invites you to be a seeker, a student, a searcher. Religion comes to you with all the answers in the can. And a promise of some kind of eternal life if you pass the quiz.
Correct. But that promise of eternal life also has people or controls people through fear. If you sin, you're going to go to hell. Is there a hell? I personally don't believe there's a hell. Spirituality allows you to incorporate your own belief system, what feels warm and fuzzy for you. And again, like we spoke about earlier, is you were speaking about how transgender and gay and gender neutral people feel when even though they're outside of the box, and it's not always real comfortable. But this is the same thing with spirituality as well. I was in the closet as a spiritual practitioner for many years because I live in an area where my family are horsemen and we're on a farm, and you don't talk about things like that because they think you're a little bit loopy. So I had to hide that.
You can always talk to the horses about it because they get it.
They get it. And when I practice Reiki, the same as well. And that's one of the things I wanted to tell you about, too. I've worked a little bit with hospice, doing Reiki, and I have seen some old people who wanted to let go, but they were so afraid because they were going to go to hell. And they were just holding on because it was so sad because they were so afraid. They didn't know what was on the other side. And they were fearful that something horrible was going to happen to them.
And, part of that is, and we're going to be going on break any second now. I have no control of the breaks. They just come in. So that music will start very softly in any second. But before it does, the thing is, I've always said that you can have heaven on earth with some hellish moments or hell on earth with some heavenly moments, but it's all right here. And there's the music. I'll let you think about that. Donna Marie Evleth will be right back here on the
Good
Dr.
job.
Kevin Show. Huh?
Good job.
Music.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Vibe Nation Radio is brought to you by Carrie Turcotte and Dean Thomas. Each week we bring a refreshing outlook to lifting the veils of illusion that occur in our daily lives. We will share our own learnings and personal experience that allow others to understand who they truly are.
At the end of each show, Carrie will be tapping into the listeners' energies just to give an idea of what to expect for the week ahead. So join us each Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and together we will discover the inner keys that will unlock the true you.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Imagine receiving healing, vibration-raising energy as you listen to the radio. Energy that flows effortlessly to you. Imagine exploring all things metaphysical, sharing in an ongoing adventure. Join me, Karen Smoot, along with my co-hosts Lisa Victorson and Wendy Weber for Immersion into Source every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on OM Radio.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes, where we're changing the world one Om at a time. If you want to be part of today's conversation with Donna Marie Evleth and myself about tarot and about spirituality and about religion and about fairy tales, whatever it may be, you come to facebook.com/MYDRKEVIN. Make sure you like the page when you're there. And then I've already posted at the top is Donna, all of the places you can connect up with her and get in touch with her, and a place for you to leave comments so you can be part of the conversation, because we want you to be part of this conversation. Don't we, Donna?
We do, Dr. Kevin.
So what we're doing right now is we're getting ready to move on to our next segment, which is called Behind the Curtain. So because you've never been on my show before, I am going to give you the test. So from what movie did this come? Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Wizard of Oz, isn't it?
It sure is.
You used that one before.
I always use that because that's the name of this segment.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. So if you listen to my show, it's easy to cheat. But what I like to remind you and my listeners of is that there was this shyster from Kansas whose balloon blew the wrong way, and but he was portraying himself as the great and powerful Oz because he knew how to pull some levers. He pulls the wool over people's eyes in Oz. There are lots of people pulling the wool over our eyes today. In the Behind the Curtain segment, this is the time for you to expose my listeners to a truth, something that you don't think that probably is being presented well, or that they may just not understand the reality of, and hopefully, by understanding it, they will live a better life. No pressure there. So, Donna, where do you want to take my listeners behind the curtain?
How about to the question or the topic of broken families?
Oh, a broken family. Quick, let me get my super glue. Go ahead.
Okay, well, how do you feel about the nature versus nurture? I, for one, was adopted, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion on this. But I was adopted, and I was raised in a totally different situation than my birth parents. But I had all the characteristics of my birth parents. For example, I read tarot. My biological mother was a tarot reader. I did not find this out until my 20s. And I had already been practicing, and I had already been on my spiritual path. As a matter of fact, back in the 60s and 70s, my grandmother actually used to, she had exorcisms done in the house because she was so frightened of my mother practicing her spirituality. And then they institutionalized her. So that was interesting to find out. I grew up in a very Roman Catholic environment. I went to church every day before school, and none of this.
Do something fun today. None of this, yeah.
Pardon? I didn't hear that.
No, I was just listening. None of this.
Okay, so I grew up as a Roman Catholic, and all of this was sinful. So I was shut down at a very early age. So now that is one of the examples. The other example is I was a crazy animal lover and a horse person. I was not allowed to have any pets where I lived. I lived in a small suburb of Andover, Mass. And I grew up having this crazy love of animals, and nobody could figure out where it came from. Turns out both of my parents were horse trainers, and I used to go after school every day, ride my bike. My parents didn't even know, down the road to the farm, and I would muck stall so I could have a riding lesson on Saturday. So again, the nature versus nurture thing. I'd love to get your listeners' opinions of that. And what do you think of birth order in addition to that?
Okay, so you've brought up the issue of nature versus nurture. You've brought up the issue of does intuitive follow through the genes. You've brought up the issue of birth order. So, we've got about 6 or 7 more minutes. If you want to bring up a half a dozen more things, we can go through this whole session without talking about any of them. One thing at a time, Donna Marie.
Okay, let's talk about the nature versus nurture
Okay.
thing.
I just need to keep you on track. You're so excited that you're not giving my listeners a chance to take things in, and you're just going. So I need you to breathe deep, honey. Give us one thing at a time. Nature versus nurture. Let's talk about that. I look at nature versus nurture as some of it is the nature and some of it is the nurture. There are things that obviously, to me, it's obvious after 26 years as a spiritual catalyst and counselor and working with people and observing things around me that, like psychic abilities run in my family, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, aunts. I mean, the history goes on and on. That history would not have been changed had I been adopted. That history still would have been there. I would have had less backing, so to speak, in ways along the way, but it still would have been there. However, sometimes the nurture may allow something to come up that's more recedent. It's like maybe you don't have a whole lot of musical ability, you have just a little, but you're being raised in a very musical family and you're getting exposed to it, and you take that little bit and you maximize what you did out of it. Where if you were in a nurture family that did nothing with music, you might have just let it die. So I think that there's always a combination. I think that there's some nature and there is some nurture. And I do believe that, like in your family and in my family, psychic abilities really gallop. It's one of our gifts. Maybe we can't change a carburetor, and I certainly don't know how to stick an oil pump, up a tailpipe, but, give me a deck of cards or give me an astrology chart or give me 2 seconds to focus and I can just blow you away intuitively. So, we all have our gifts and they're all different. What do you think the nurturing part of the family that adopted you did give you that might not have been as present or might not have helped you in some way had you been raised by your birth family?
That's a tough one. I believe I would not have had all the structure that I had as a child if I was born, say, on the racetrack all the time. I had a home. I had 3 square meals. I was well cared for. I went to good schools. That kind of gave me that perspective. And they say, everything is opposites. You have to see something, experience something in order to understand the opposite. So I believe that's what it gave me. It gave me an opposite perspective.
Yeah, and I suspect that in some ways that structure, when it was time for you to blossom, helped you out in blossoming. I mean, look at the books you're creating. Look at the programs you're creating. You're taking very esoteric things that for some people are very abstract and illusory, and you're putting them in a very practical, pragmatic way in some ways. I have to think that some part of that came from your nurturing.
Yes, and the writing part of it really did. I would have to say that because education was a very important factor in my childhood, especially with the nuns, as I'm sure you're aware of. I was given the gift of being able to write. So, I do take that. Although it was a very traumatic childhood for me because I never fit in and I was, ostracized and ridiculed, and everything I did, I was, my parents were not kind, my adoptive parents. So, it was tough for me, but I do appreciate the structure and the education that I received.
Why do you think, and I see this, I'm working with a young lady now, and she was adopted, and in her case, her parents are almost cruel to her. Why do you think somebody goes to all the effort of adopting only to be mean or cruel or hard or unloving to a child? Why do you think that happens, Donna?
Well, I'm very opinionated about that as well because I do not understand why they would adopt to the families that they adopted the child or myself out to. For example, my mother did not want children, my adoptive mother, but all her friends had them. So she felt like it was something she had to do. Like, like the new dishwasher, I guess, was a good example. All her friends had new dishwashers. She had to have one. Well, all her friends had kids, and so she had to have one. And she was not very nurturing. She did not know how to be a mother. And sadly, I got caught up in that, and then later on in her life, she went blind, and it was a genetic thing, and she could not care for me at all. She was an alcoholic and I believe mentally ill. So that's what actually kind of set me out on my own in trying to discover that, what is different. I just knew there was something different. But as far as why they adopted out children back then, even now, to people who might not necessarily want a child, I don't know. And I can't understand myself.
Well, I'm sure that probably your adoptive mother somewhat played the game that needed to be played, because it would have been devastating for her to be turned down for an adoption if she was that addicted or that obsessed with kind of what the neighbors think. If all the neighbors had a dishwasher, she had to have a dishwasher. All the neighbors had a kid, she had to have a kid. And so she probably played the game pretty well. They looked at, a steady marriage that on the outside probably showed well, a decent home. And, back in the day when you were adopted, the fact of being, a member of an accepted religion, all important. The funny thing is, your mother's struggle was in trying to fit in and be normal. And hasn't that been part of your struggle as well?
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I just came out of the closet as, a spiritual practitioner because I was taught my entire life that I was weird. There was something wrong with me. I was telling stories. I was lying. And everything was truth. And my guide was telling me all the time. And I had to shut her off because everybody, just to fit in.
Yep. And that's our sound. And we're ending this segment. And we will be right back here on the Dr. Kevin.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth radio is conscious living for your soul every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to the last segment of the Dr. Kevin Show, where we challenge everything and everyone here on OMTimes Radio, where we're changing the world one Om at a time. And here on the Dr. Kevin Show, we challenge everything and everyone. Today's guest is Donna Marie Evleth. She is the Evleth. You know, maybe you should go back to your maiden name. No,
I agree.
What was your maiden name?
Well, it was Witkowitz, but then I became McDowell with my first husband, and my two children are McDowell, so I would probably go back to McDowell.
You know what? I can pronounce McDowell.
Me too.
She is the mother of two amazing guys, Patrick and Bryan McDowell, a retired U.S. Army veteran from the desert era, an empath and an intuitive. And she is the founder of the Saratoga Intuitive Tarot, which is an organization dedicated to the accurate education and advancement of intuition through tarot in the Capital District of New York. She has a new program coming out and book combined about reading the tarot. And she has one coming out about just a byproduct and about the journey she took by being adopted into a very non-spiritual family as a very spiritual being. Is that a fair statement?
That is definitely fair.
So, Donna, here we have on our last segment, and you can find out more about Donna at facebook.com/Saratoga Intuitive Tarot. So, Donna, you have our last segment is called What a Load of Crap with Dr. Kevin. And you get to throw out anything that you think for the next 11 minutes or so, 10 minutes or so, that you think is a load of crap, and we're going to kick it around and see what we can fertilize with it.
All right, let's do it. What I think a load of crap is our educational model, and I know that's taking on a big subject, but I believe that our educational model is totally brainwashing kids. It's very structured for everyone to everyone learns the same things, and it's been passed down for generations and generations, and it really doesn't change a whole lot. We're told what we need to know and what we need to understand, but it's not necessarily the truth. What is your opinion, Dr. Kevin?
Well, first of all, you're hitting on one of my favorite load of craps, which is education. So the first thing is that we have an education system that teaches people what to think and not how to think. You
Definitely.
teach people what to think when you want cubicle kids and apathetic zombies that just become sheeple that follow people and do whatever they're told to do. When you teach people how to think, you have inventors and artists and musicians. You have rebels. You have people that question. You have people that push to constantly make the system keep up with the evolution of humanity.
Like us.
Like us. So, it's not even so much that so much has not changed, because some things don't change. History doesn't change. It only gets more honest. So there's a change there. But and 2 + 2 will always equal 4 when you're starting to teach somebody mathematics. But it's the way in which they teach has not kept up with what we know about education and what we know. And that's why we are, I think it's 17th or 19th on the world stage in education, which is horrendous. We spend more money than anybody else per child for a mediocre education.
Agreed. We're living in the Matrix. Basically, if anybody saw the Matrix movie, we're just kind of all programmed. We're going along the way they tell us to go along, following the rules that they set. And we have to work within the structure of that system. And like you said, they don't want us to think outside of the box. We're artists, we're creative, we're spiritual, we're, whatever we want to be. And we are the people that the institution fears. Do you agree?
Because we are the overthrowers of the institution. We we are the ones that are going to challenge them and are going to hold them accountable and are not necessarily going to put up with their crap, which is perfect for this segment. So my question for you is, because I put a lot of stuff out, and I'm not sure if you do know that I have a lot of books and stuff out on ADD. And
I do.
Yeah, okay. So
Managing the Gift is one of them.
She gets brownie points. Love her.
Yay!
Go to her Facebook page. But what would you do if you could do one thing to improve education? I have just made you the head of the Department of Education for the U.S. government, and you can do one thing that has to be done everywhere in the world, everywhere in the United States in education. What would it be?
I think it would be some way to allow the child to have a, not an agenda, what do you call that with students, a syllabus of what they want to learn. And allow them to create their own education in some ways. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some structure, which is, we have to learn math, we have to learn grammar, we have to learn English, that kind of thing. But allow them to have the ability to structure their education the way they would like to, or in the early years, their parents.
I think that having kids that, that we had a choice of curriculums, and, we're not going to be able to do 30 curriculums for 30 different students. But if we had, even at a very young age, like 3 to 5 different tracks of curriculum that mix things up and were taught in different ways based on what kind of learner you are, and got integrated with what kind of things that, you were drawn to and were gifted at and were talented at, and you intermeshed those crosswise. So you have somebody who's brilliant at math, let them teach, let them be the teacher of their fellow students who struggle with math. And the ones who are excellent in history, let them get the other ones interested in history, and teach the children to empower each other and work together, and at the same time be being moved forward and supporting their gifts, and and have more problem solving. I mean, these are some of the things that I would like to see in education. And of course, I think that it should be required curriculum for by the time you're in first or second grade, that you at least have gone through and taken psychic development 101.
Absolutely. And I laugh, but it's the truth. It's allow the children to be who they are and not be shamed for who they are.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is we literally drain, we suppress, we oppress the psychic and the creative.
Definitely.
And we're not doing that. So, we're making them we're making them cancel their imaginary friends. We're telling them that they're wrong when they see colors around people or they know things.
Right. I have so many, I work occasionally at my friend's New Age shop, which is tons of crystals and gems and all of that. The kids that come in nowadays, they know what they want. They come in for their birthday because they want stones, they want crystals. They may not completely understand why. They're making crystal grids and they don't even realize it. And the parents are just so baffled by it all, which, it's amazing. And some of them, the parents come in with the kids and they say that, my son, he's telling me in a different life he was doing this and he was this person and that person. And they're like, what do I do? The parents are asking, what do I do? Do I condone this? And it's sad because, the kids are not, they're just starting to allow the adults are allowing the kids to stretch it a little bit.
Yep. Well, and that's because a lot of the adults, never had permission to do this, to follow their own intuitive, to learn how to trust it, to acknowledge it. It goes right back, and we're going to be out of time in just a minute, but it goes right back to that first segment that we did of making it all right. Making it all right. If you're a little psychic kid that talks to dead people, it's okay. If you remember your past life, it's okay. If you see auras, it's okay. If when the phone rings, you know who's calling and you say it, it's okay. You don't have to be afraid. So
Absolutely.
So besides a fairy tale for kids, we need to be having more, more kids books about psychic abilities and dead people and colors and chakras and energies and auras, and we need to be getting those out, and they need to be not poo-pooed as, oh, that's just the talk of crazy people.
Exactly. And there are a few authors coming up now that are doing that, or they're trying to prepare the parents for nurturing this in their children, their spirituality. And I believe we need to do that. Like you said, we've come full circle with gay kids and transgender kids and gender neutral kids, as well as spiritual kids and psychic kids and kids who have had past lives.
And that's our music. And thank you so much for coming. I hope you've enjoyed your time on the Dr. Kevin Show. And, let me know when you want me to come up to Central District, New York.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You as well.